Welcome back to algebravideos.com. 2x minus 1 minus 3x plus 5 equals 0. No big deal. We can solve this problem. All we have to do is isolate x. We want to get x by itself on one side of the equation. That's our goal. So we're going to move numbers around until that's the case, until we have x by itself on one side of the equation. The first thing we can do is just kind of make this problem a little smaller and simpler and easier just by combining these terms here that are similar and just rewrite it as a smaller problem. 2x and minus 3x, that simplifies to a negative 1x. So the first thing we can do is just simplify anywhere we can. So 2x minus 3x is negative 1x. And then the rest of the problem, I'll just rewrite it as is. So I've got a minus 1. So I'm just going to rewrite that as a minus 1. And then we've got a plus 5 over here. So I'll just rewrite that as a plus 5. And all of that equals, on the other side of the equation, the right side of the equation, 0. So I'll just rewrite the 0. Now, just continuing as I'm looking at this, is there anything else I can simplify? Well, minus 1 and plus 5, that could be simplified. What's minus 1 plus 5? This little section right here. That's a positive 4, right? Just like 5 minus 1 is 4. Negative 1 plus 5 is 4. So let's just rewrite this equation. Negative 1x. And then all of this part above the orange line here, that simplifies to a positive 4. And that equals 0. Okay, so next thing I want to do is get rid of this 4. Okay, so how do I get rid of this 4? I'm going to subtract 4. That's an easy way. It's almost cheating. But whatever I do to one side, I need to do to the other side. So if I subtract 4 from one side, I'm going to subtract 4 from the other side. And you say, well, why did you do that? I mean, why did you even do a minus 4 in the first place? Well, so that this term here, 4 minus 4, will turn into 0. So let me rewrite it and I'll show you. First, I'm going to bring down this term, the negative 1x. Nothing changing there. Negative 1x. And now plus this next term. What is the next term? 4 minus 4. Well, that's 0, right? So we can just call that 0. That's nice. That's going to be easier to deal with. And that equals, on the right side, negative 4. So now we can simplify this as just negative 1x equals negative 4. Now, how do I get rid of this? I still have that negative 1 over there by the x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1. Remember, I can do anything I want to both sides of the equation as long as I do the same thing to both sides. Okay, so what does this simplify to? Negative 1 divided by negative 1. Well, anything divided by the same thing, or anything divided by itself, is 1. So that means negative 1 divided by negative 1, just going to write up here on the right side now, is a 1. And then the x doesn't change, it's still x. And that equals, on the right side, what do we have on the right side? This, right? Negative 4 divided by negative 1. Well, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So 4 divided by 1 is 4. Negative 4 divided by negative 1 is positive 4. And that simplifies to just x equals 4. So the solution to the problem is x equals 4. And we could just stop right there. We're done. That is the solution. That's all you're supposed to do. But if you want to be absolutely sure that you got the right answer, you can plug that x back in to the original equation and see if it stays equal on both sides. So let's do that. Let's just make sure we got the right answer. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite the original equation. And there it is. And everywhere that there's an x, I'm going to plug in our solution of 4. Okay, so this first term is 2x. So I'm going to rewrite that as 2 times x, but we're plugging in a 4 for every x, right? So that becomes 2 times 4. And then the next term is minus 1, so I'll just rewrite a minus 1. And then we have a minus 3x. So I'll write minus 3 times x. Well, we're plugging in a 4 for every x, so I'm going to do a 3 times 4. And then the next term is plus 5. That's this term right here. So plus 5 equals 0, right? That's what's on the right side of the equation, equals 0. And now we just need to simplify this and see if it's all true. So let's simplify this first term. 2 times 4 is 8, right? And then the next term here is minus 1, so I'm just going to write minus 1. And then minus 3 times 4 is 12, plus 5. So I'm just rewriting that, equals 0. Okay, and I'll just do these first two and then the second two. So 8 minus 1, that simplifies to 7. And then negative 12 plus 5, that simplifies to a negative 7, equals 0. So 7 minus 7 is 0. So our equation checks out. So now we know that plugging the solution of x equals 4 back into the original equation produces something that is true, the same thing on both sides, 0 on both sides. And that tells us that our solution of x equals 4 was correct. And I'm going to give us an A+.
Thumbs up and subscribe. For more videos like this, check out algebravideos.com.